One high-calorie ingredient is in a lot more foods than you could possibly think. Coming up, two guys who are trying to do without it and are having a real tough time. All right, we'll tell you what we're talking about. And also joining us now, two men who know a little bit about corn in the United States and a little bit about firsthand experience with high fructose corn syrup. This is important, especially coming out of Thanksgiving, because we're consuming an awful lot of that. Ian Cheney and Kurt Ellis are co-producers of a movie that investigates the business of corn and its byproducts and its effects on your body. They drove around the country to make this movie. They even grew corn in a field in Iowa, and they're good enough to join us now for our Vital Signs segment. All right, help me understand why high fructose corn syrup could be a problem or not for Americans. Ian, start us off.
Well, high fructose corn syrup is in an incredible number of foods. If you walk down an aisle of the grocery store, you see all these, colored sodas and fruit juices or sweet breakfast cereals. It seems like, we have a really diverse food system, but all of them are sweetened by the same thing.
Kurt,
largely.
let's go to you. Why are they sweetened? Why are so many products, as he says, sweetened with corn syrup? Why not sugar?
Well, it's cheap. We grow a whole lot of corn in this country, and it doesn't cost very much to turn all that corn into sugar.
Why is it so cheap? Why isn't it cheaper than any other product?
There are a few reasons. I mean, one is that we're very good at growing corn,
right.
But maybe the more important one is that we subsidize corn production quite heavily in this country.
Subsidize means that we, as taxpayers, are using our money to give money to the farmers to buy the corn.
We actually pay farmers to grow corn, often whether or not the market demands it. It's almost a guaranteed win to be growing corn in this country as a result of our tax dollars.
So you end up with an automatic surplus of corn every year then, right?
Well, that's largely what's happened for the last 40 years anyway.
So because you and me pay for it to be grown, it's a lot cheaper than, let's say, the sugar producer, right? In some other country, for example. Ian, back to you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we poured, a couple of years ago, we paid corn farmers almost $10 billion to grow corn, which is a real incentive. And so because we have so much of this stuff, there's whole industries that have emerged to essentially get rid of it. And in a sense, that's what corn syrup is, because, back in 1970, nobody ate high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah.
We weren't making as much corn.
Well, there's nothing wrong. I think high fructose corn syrup is wonderful. And by the way, if you put it on your pancakes, it's absolutely delicious. Nobody's saying there's anything wrong with high fructose corn syrup, right? I think the point that you guys are making is, as Americans, we need to know we're eating an awful lot of it for the reasons that we just described.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's found its way into our food system in ways we probably don't even recognize. And as a result of that, our food system is so much sweeter than we think it is, and we're
is that why we're fatter? I mean, let's face it, as Americans.
I mean, when I think about what makes me gain weight, I think it's probably some of the food choices I'm making. I mean, undoubtedly, if I
But this food choice isn't being made by us. It's being made kind of by the government, who's deciding that they're going to get that tax situation, that incentive, right?
In a sense. I mean, the Farm Bill has such an enormous effect on what we grow that it really does end up shaping what's available at your corner store or when you're driving down the highway. And largely what's available is foods made out of corn.
So you guys did this for a month? No, you didn't eat any of this stuff? That's what your movie's about?
Well, the film is actually about a year we spent growing an acre of corn. And, we've been on the road promoting the film now, and we decided actually this month, we're in the middle of it, to try and, almost as an exercise, to see what it would be like to avoid eating anything that contains corn or is derived from corn.
And because there's so much in our diet about this, it's something that you would expect that people would probably want to know about, especially parents, for example. And again, we are not saying in any way, shape, or form that there's anything wrong with corn in this case, or with corn being used as a syrup. In fact, here's what the industry says, and they're, as you might imagine, somewhat sensitive about this. The Corn Refiners Association sent us a statement that says, in part, that the King corn which is this documentary these two gentlemen are doing, contains many well-worn myths, and that new research continues to confirm that high fructose corn syrup is no different from other nutritive sweeteners. High fructose corn syrup is a natural sweetener which is similar to other sweeteners like sugar and honey in its composition, its caloric content, the way the body metabolizes it, and its effect on the appetite. Am I still reading all of this? The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has long recognized that the sweetener is safe. Now, nobody has said anything about that. Are you guys saying that there's something wrong with corn syrup, by the way? Because they seem real defensive in that note.
We're actually not. We're not saying that there's anything worse about corn syrup than sugar. It's just that largely because of corn syrup, we're eating an incredible amount of this stuff
right.
now.
So they just defended themselves against an accusation that nobody made. Hey, gentlemen, thanks. We certainly appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.